I think the first time I really started to enjoy any sort of edible, not that kind of edible, in media was when I was little and watching this cartoon called Max and Ruby, which I'm now finding out was running until 2019. Why was it running for so long? And there's this episode where they go into a candy store, and I just remember absolutely loving how the candy looked. Even though it didn't resemble anything that looked like normal candy, for some reason, I just wanted a bite of that lemon peel, whatever the hell that is, but it was unattainable. And naturally, this fixation on the unattainable sort of foods would transfer into anime. I remember watching One Piece, getting to Sanji's arc, and absolutely loving every moment of the scenes where he would cook something up for the crew. I really wanted to taste Sanji's cooking because it just looked so goddamn delicious. And after all of that, yeah, we're gonna talk about manga now. Whee! Dungeon Meshi is a story about a party of adventurers going deep into a dungeon in order to rescue a member that's been left behind. Chomp. But they realize, hey, we're super fucking weak, why do we feel so shitty all the time? And that's because they weren't eating right. That's right, unlike all the other fantasy worlds that are about slaying monsters and, I don't know, incest, Dungeon Meshi actually takes nutrition into account, and that's because, well, Meshi means food, so they decide to actually cook fucking food, and because you have this fantasy setting, they don't just cook normal ass chicken and broccoli. Instead, they cook monsters. Almost every single chapter, they make a new monster themed dish, and because these dishes are properly balanced for their health, they're able to go deeper into the dungeon and overcome challenges that they wouldn't have otherwise. And this is the gimmick, I guess you could say, of Dungeon Meshi. A common theme you're going to see in the food manga that I talk about today is that these books go into a lot of detail when explaining cooking and the food. And Dungeon Meshi does this a shit ton. It's so detailed on how exactly the food is prepared, even though it's literally describing an imaginary dish. They talk about the taste, the texture, how it's meant to be eaten, stuff that makes my mouth water. It even goes as far as to give you a little health chart that shows how much protein, vitamins, or energy each dish would give you. Little things like that are what make Dungeon Meshi unique. And even if you don't like the food aspect, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's another word in the title. It starts with a D, and I know it's not penis, so okay, what is this joke? Just like how Minecraft has both mining and the crafting, Dungeon Meshi, or Dungeon Meal, or Dungeon Food, or Dungeon Fuck has both the things in the title. It doesn't skip on either part, and the dialogue goes into just as much detail with the dungeon aspects of the world as it does with the food. I've seen this manga compared a lot to Dungeons and Dragons. You got all these different races: human, elf, halfling, dwarf, Asian, you know. There's magic, witches, wizard, witchcraft, wizardry. Harry, your dinner's ready. The monsters are also a huge part of the story, not just as food, but before they even decide to cook the monster, the party figures out how to kill it first. Each creature has a different weakness, and you feel like you're with the characters problem solving your way through each encounter. There's anatomy and ingredients and creativity. It's some nerd shit, which I would never associate myself with, but maybe this gets a pass. It's an extremely chilled out read, like podcasting a sort of way, where all the characters are just non-stop talking with this synergy that makes you feel like you're huddled up with your Among Us plushie on a winter night. Maybe that's just me. The art style is super cute, and you'll end up falling in love with the manga's subtle sense of humor. The story's in its latter half. It's been serializing since fucking Robot makes a first ever comet landing. It's already one of the bigger food mangas out there, and if you haven't already, I suggest you go check it out for some comfy, cozy times with the boys and the girls and the Shokugeki no Soma. Shokugeki no Soma, or Food Wars for the non-degens who don't call everything by their Romaji titles, is a cooking battle manga that most of you have definitely heard of. It has a pretty big anime adaptation, and even I knew about this dude since before I knew about Robot makes first ever comet landing. And just to be clear, I'm gonna be completely honest, at the time of creating this video, I have not actually finished Shokugeki no Soma, and I kind of don't want to, because up to the point where I'm at in the story, Food Wars is a blast to read. It has some of the funnest moments I've had reading manga. Soma, who is the main character, is just so badass at cooking, and he always finds a way to squeeze out victories in these battles called shokugekis, and he gives these characters foodgasms. I want that! And since I'm stupid and don't have a lot of words to describe this manga, instead, I'll compare it to one of my favorite movies of all time. Yet another example of delicious food through the screen that I'll never be able to get. Ratatouille. And if you know Ratatouille, you should know about the pinnacle scene in the film when the harsh critic tries the ratatouille dish and is taken back to his childhood. when his mom used to make that for him after a long day of playing outside. He remembers fond memories of his mother. It's the air of nostalgia that really gets you. And I think if that moment was taken and turned into a manga, it would become Food Wars. No, it fucking wouldn't. What is this? What is this film critic bullshit? You can tell the writer obviously knows a shit ton about food. They take you through the entire process, from the cooking to the eating to the judging, even the fucking rewind to the ingredients. It's so detailed, and there's always something new to learn and experience. This definitely has the most explanations and dialogue out of any of the food manga that I've seen. It's dense as fuck and somehow manages to make 18 to 20 pages feel like they're all worth reading. After this, I feel like I have a separate brain just for cooking and food, and I don't even like cooking. Can we get this out of the way real quick? I don't like cooking. That's for Burger King employees. I find one dish and I make that like every single day. You wanna know what a degenerate eats? Hard-boiled eggs, baked potatoes, instant ramen. Probably a combination of all three at some point, and yet I can still enjoy the living fuck out of Shokugeki no Soma. I think another part that this manga does really well are the visual metaphors. A shonen lives or dies by its visual metaphors, and this manga does not hold back. There's visual metaphors for literally everything, whether it's the cooking or the tasting. There's even a goddamn JoJo reference, which really threw me for a loop. Why the hell is there JoJo in my food manga? And let's just pause for a second to look at the art. Like, what is that? What is that? Why does it look so sexy? Oh my god, is that Yu-Gi-Oh? On this page, they just forgot to draw the rest of it. I don't know what's going on. Yes, the art is beautiful. This page isn't even canon, but I wish it was, because just look at it. Cute girls, cute guy, cute present, cute tie. However, there is something that needs to be addressed. I tried to put this off till the end, and it's kind of ironic, cause, well, you'll see. The reason that I said that I didn't want to finish Food Wars isn't because of the fact that it's so good that I want it to last forever. It's because this manga is notorious for having a shitty, garbage, upsetting, and lackluster ending, and hearing that bums me out. I hate when there's this amazing story that you fall in love with. You go through chapter by chapter, and that passion for the manga only grows deeper. The story provides a specific warmth that invades your body and makes it stay as time goes on. You stick with the manga for years, but at some point you realize you're not even enjoying it anymore. You wonder when this happened. It was a slow downfall that quickly became more visible as time passed. You're experiencing the story out of habit, not for enjoyment. Because you've already put so much time, effort, and thought into it, you might as well see it through. And after everything, after 325 chapters over the course of 7 years, you end up feeling empty at the end. And maybe it's just because you're hungry, because, you know, food manga, but even after you eat, it's like, damn. And I don't want to go through that, at least not for this video. It would definitely ruin my entire Christmas and maybe even a portion of 2022. And if I do end up finishing Shokugeki no Soma, I will be going over in a video where I can extort more views from my audience and maybe some Twitter followers. Follow me on Twitter at 88jingle. I'm super funny, I think, and I'm trying to take over all of anime manga YouTube, so help me out if you want, like, consensually. I'm not gonna, like, force you. I'm not gonna, like, trace your IP or anything and bust down. Bambino! If there's one manga that I want you to take away from this video, which preferably it would be all three, but if there's one, it would probably have to be Bambino. I had no expectations going into this manga, and I came out of it with not even an amazing food manga, but an amazing manga. It's about a guy who leaves his town, his family, his connections, his girlfriend to move to Tokyo, where he'll learn how to become a great chef, specializing in Italian cuisine. And thanks to the connection that his mentor had, he's able to work at a very highly rated, well-known restaurant in the heart of Roppongi, which is an entertainment district in Tokyo well known for its nightlife. However, nothing is as simple as it's ever made out to be. This is a manga about struggle in every sense of the word. He arrives to the city and is immediately thrown into an environment that is fast-paced, intense, and ruthless. Although everything looks good from the outside, behind it all is an ever-moving machine that consists of manning the bar, waiting tables, making desserts, and cooking food, each with their own little subsections that add to the beast of running a high-class restaurant. Now, out of all of these, where do you think Bambino, as he ends up being called due to his lack of experience, where do you think he works? Obviously, it would be in cooking food, because he's a chef after all. And wrong, delete, backspace. This is real life. There's a hierarchy in the restaurant, and everyone starts off by manning the bar and waiting tables. And because Bambi has only ever known cooking, he obviously sucks ass at doing these tasks. But it's okay because Ban Shogo has become one of my favorite MCs in a while. Sure, he may fumble around and have absolutely no idea what he's doing, but he ends up overcoming these challenges through sheer willpower and courage. It's inspiring as fuck, and again, because Bambino ends up going through all these different jobs before he finally makes it back to the kitchen, it ends up changing him for the better. And honestly, I could make a whole video on it, but for now, you get a little snippet of a hugely underrated manga. Remember when I said that Helk was the most underrated manga that I've ever read? That was completely wrong. It's Bambino. It's criminal how few people have read this hidden masterpiece of a manga. It's cinematic as fuck, and I really ended up loving it. There's a sequel, and it hasn't even been fully translated. Please, someone get a team to finish this shit. They just gave up like midway through, and that's my video. Thanks for watching.